All right, Techno Studs, time for the fun part here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to see how we can connect into these devices and start programming them. I've got a couple different cables here. Both of them have an RJ45 on the end here, but they're a flat cable, and the difference with this cable that you connect into Cisco equipment is it is a rollover cable. And so all of the pins on a rollover cable roll over in the cable as it connects to the other device. And so this particular one actually just has a RS-232 on the end of it. So the RS-232 is a common type of connector that was on a lot of computers. We don't see that as much anymore. So what I'm actually going to do is going to be using the USB connector to it. When you actually go to configure your terminal program, it can be a little more complicated when you're using USB, but we just don't see serials on computers as much as we used to. So it's becoming more rare with this. So pretty easy to connect into this. I just take my connector and I find the console, and then plug it right there into the console, and then I'm going to plug the other end into my computer. All right, so now I've plugged in the console cable into the device that I want to configure, and I plugged the USB into the laptop that I'm going to be using. So here's the laptop. I'm on the laptop now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get into the device manager. So to do that, click the start menu, and we're going to type in device manager. So that's going to pop up there. We'll click on device manager, and we are going to find that cable that we plugged in under the ports, the common LPT ports. So we open that up and we see USB serial, and it is on COM3. So there we now see that it's on COM3, and that's what we're going to use to configure this device. All right, next we're going to need some software that's going to interface with this equipment. So it's going to be some terminal emulator program that we're going to use. So you can, there's several different ones that are out there. There's a lot of free versions out there, and there's a lot of paid for versions out there. The one that we're going to use throughout here, or what I'm going to be demoing on, is using PuTTY, which is one of the free ones out there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up a web page here and look for PuTTY. We're going to type in PuTTY download. Once again, if there's any advertisements that come up towards the top, I always bypass those. There's none here at this point in time. And I go for the top one that's displayed, and that's usually the legitimate link. So this one's download PuTTY, so I'm going to click on that one. And it says to download PuTTY. I got to click here, so I'll click here. This is actually going to bring us to a different site, but this one is the safe site to download this on. So I take a look, and I am on a 64-bit and x86. So this is the one that I'm going to need. So if you're on a Windows machine, good chance you're on the 64 x86. So I'm going to download this software right here, and then I'm going to click it to install. I'm going to go through the steps to install this. I'm going to, once again, accept all of the defaults on this and get it installing. I'm not going to view the README file, and finish. All right, next what we're going to do is we're going to get into PuTTY and connect to our equipment. So I'm going to close out of this window right here. I'm going to type PuTTY in there. For this case, I'm actually going to right-click this and pin this to the start menu for easier access later. Actually, what I'll probably do is pin it to the taskbar as well. So now it's down here on the taskbar. I can open it up. And now I have all these different connection types. So I've got the different connection types that I can connect to all of these different pieces of equipment in different fashions. And we're going to be going over a couple of these. But for now, we're just going to make a serial connection to this device. All right, to make a serial connection to this device, I'm going to click the serial that I'm going to connect to, and it's going to ask which serial line I'm going to connect to, and I looked it up, and it was serial line COM3. So I'm going to type in COM3 into there, and then I'm going to select the speed of 9600. So there we're going to connect at a speed of 9600 to COM3. I'll click on open, and then that's going to bring up the device. Okay, now we can see that we're connected to this device, and one of the first things that comes up is a question. Would you like to enter the initial configuration dialog? This is a wizard that will step you through the process of doing some initial configurations of this device. For now, we were going to jump straight into this device and just take a look around. So we're going to just bypass this. So I'm going to click no and hit enter. All right, so now I am on this switch and I can start programming this. I can start doing some show commands. I can get into the enable mode. I can do all of the commands to get this device programming. So we are connected to this device, and that is how you do that. I hope these videos are really helping you out. If it is, could you hit that like button?